Yes, I'm back again. Back again. Hey, back again. How we getting on? Yeah, I was just I suppose I have to fucking wrap it up because I wasn't expecting to be spending all morning talking to you, but you're an interesting bunch of bastards. Interesting bunch of bastards. Give it the old thumbs up there, quick. Thumbs it up. Thumbs it up there, quick. Oh, thumbs it up. Any thumbs going there, lads? There, any thumbs? Back again, Scan is right. Back again. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Hit the thumbs up. Oh, nice thumbs up action there, man. Got fucking three in a row, hey. Three in a row. Oh, ho, oh, ho, oh, ho. Yeah, I must have, the algorithms of justice had, they were probably like, what are you saying about being fucking hedonistic? And, well, what I meant to say before I was cut off on the power stream was when I was at the height of the TV game and money was flying in, I was like my market value was high. Um I spent a lot of time just like focusing on my career and and you'd have people asking you questions. You become a fucking expert in your own bollocks. Do you know what I mean? It's like and I remember being at the IFTAs once and just seeing like there was a kind of a hierarchical power structure. And you had like people wanted, I want to be a big boy. Please observe me. And then you had your Hollywood lads, Aidan Gillen and Brendan Gleeson and Fassbender and Liam Cunningham, all these lads who are they're on the top rung of the Irish TV world, and then you kind of you start thinking about like like culture is downstream from politics, and like like it's not like the world of TV and film isn't about it's not you go into it thinking it's about, oh, I want to create this TV show for the fact that it's fun to make and people are going to enjoy it. That's how it should be. But then when there are certain studios or executives who have they have how they see how things should be, and what effect that should have on society. And and you see like when I was focused on myself, I was very self-absorbed, and you don't realize it when it's happening to you. And now, since I haven't been in that world, like for me, I love performing. You know what I mean? I love comedy. I love doing live entertainment. I love the buzz that you get from that, and I'm good at it. That's what I do. I've always been, a fucking class clown, and always been, joking around and saying things out of turn. And the game, the acting game is fucking rigged, man. It's like whoever it comes down to. Obviously, casting. If you're not right for the part, then you're not going to get it. But if like if I was to become, you know, if I had some really big productions behind me, then it wouldn't really matter if I wasn't right for the role. They'd fucking fit me in somewhere because it'd be good for the overall production value of the production. So it'd be like, oh, Mark Maloney, oh, he's great, yeah, get him in it. Like he's a big name. And from a production point of view, that's how people think. They're like, okay, let's get bloody, I don't know, Daniel Radcliffe in as one of the main leads. That's how you, as from the production point of view, when you have your production cap on, you're like, who can we get in here that are recognizable and have um, a good track record? So first of all, your talent is something that you get them first, and then your production and your crew, you get a studio distribution, that kind of thing behind you. But like, what the moral of all this fucking spiel is about is when I was basically going against my own well-being in pursuit of working in a job which isn't for the faint-hearted. When my behavior was like fucking mad, things were easier. But then when I started kind of looking at my personal behavior and why I felt the need to be chasing this dream of like, oh, because it's It's one of those nebulous things that when you're a kid, it's like, oh, I want to be famous. I want to be rich and famous. And then you get older and you have a taste of it. You're like, well, why? What is that? What is it that I need to prove to do that? You know what I mean? And as I was watching this thing called The Bridge the other day, where these contestants signed up willingly to go on this reality TV show in Vietnam, where they build a bridge from a beach to a rock, climb up the rock, and inside the box there's £200,000. Now they've got to all build this bridge together to get to the rock, and then one of them, out of all of the two teams competing, out of the trials and tribulations that it takes to reach this rock, climb the top of the rock, only one person gets it. But yet people are willing to leave their families behind at home, pause their job for a bit to go to this island where they sign a release form where the editors can edit them to look any which way they like with the rushes. And you're like, but these people just probably come from like conventional jobs and they're like, oh, I'm going to be on this TV show. And then they'll get their 15 minutes of fame out of it. And you just think to yourself, why is it the need to be famous? It's because it's not all fucking like if you look at a lot of these big like movie stars, a lot of them are insecure as fuck, man, and isolated. Like they're imagine just you're constantly being surrounded by people who want to hang out with you because they want to further their career or they want to be seen with you. It's and it gets very difficult to know who's genuine and who's looking for a slice of the pie. And so the higher you go up, the fucking more isolated and weird it becomes. And for me, the fact that I've been out of the public eye for so long, it's nicely resetted me back to where I was before it all started. And and I kind of feel like so the more you try and live a righteous, humble, and honorable life, the harder life gets. But if you're like, look at me, I'm class. Look how class I am. Why aren't you looking how class? Isn't everything I do class? I'm fucking class, man. Look how class I am. And people are like, wow, he must be class because he's saying how class he is. Look at him. He believes in himself. But with age, as the great Paul Weller would say, the more I see, the less I know. The more I know, the less I understand. Maybe I've just fuck that up, but I'm a changing man built on shifting sand. And that's it, man. Like, I think of some of the stupid shit that I would have gladly have signed up to do when I was like in my late teens, early 20s. Daft shite, man. That I would have looked back now and been like, even like some of the stuff from the Hardy books, I'd look back now and I'd be like, it was fucking daft old shite. Do you know what I mean? Are you still able to write in the comments? I've noticed not many comments here. Like I'm just wondering what the crack is. I'll read some of these. Back again, Scan, Paj Mahaj, Stephen Leonard. Oh, hey, not the Veg TV. Larry Anthony, Illuminati trying to shut you down, lad. You wouldn't fucking know these days, but you wouldn't fucking know. I've only 5,000 subscribers. Imagine if you're like Russell Brand and you got like 5.1 million. He'd be doing all right for himself with Russell now. He'd be doing all right. What were the love hate lads like? They were sound enough, you know what I mean? Like they were grand lads. Alan S. Back for more chats. Excellent. Fucking Illuminati. Wookie Boss. How are you, horse? I was wondering, is Bugenhagen named after the fighter pilot in Garth Marenghi's Dog Face? No, it's actually there was a guy in The Omen called Bugenhagen. And he was living in the Holy Lands, and they had to go and see Bugenhagen to get the special blades to stab Damien, the devil's son, with. But it also goes back to his nickname in school. And then I always thought his nickname was Tommy Boo. And I started calling him Tommy Boo. And then it was like Tommy Bugenhagen after I watched The Omen. So do you think subcultures will ever come back, says Paj Mahaj? What do you mean by that, Paj Mahaj? Subcultures. I like the idea of subcultures. All right there, Kev Johnston, lad. But would Putin know what a swingle tree is? Probably would, mate, because he gets his fucking hands dirty in the agriculture sometimes. Where and how is the Boo these days? Boo is working as an ambulance driver, and he's good, man. Much more like myself. He's a man trying to make it in the world with kids. Do you know what I mean? Wookie boss, ha ha ha, nice. Fucking told you that, boy. You fucking asked for it. I told you, because I'm sound like that. Do you know what I mean? Paj Mahaj, I mean, like a new youth movement in music or fashion. It's an interesting question, that is, Paj Mahaj. And you know what? I'll answer it with an insightful observational take as usual. I noticed about 2013, yeah, I was watching a bit of the X Factor when I was at a gym, looking at a treadmill. They had a TV, yeah. So I was like, I'll go fucking running while watching a bit of TV. Do you get me? Yeah. So I noticed that you had all these fucking young kids and that, yeah, and they're all wearing these tops that say obey. And I'm like, is that some sort of anti-establishment? Oh, obey, or are they quite literally telling you to be obeying? So that got me thinking. But what I noticed was X Factor had hired people who were stylists and fucking scouts. They go out around the towns and that, yeah. And what they do is they'll see these up and coming artists who've got a little following, little indie trendy folks, yeah, and they will copy their style, and then they will dress up these X Factor hopefuls to look like them. So somewhere along the lines, yeah, you've got these lads who go out and they steal these concepts from these up and coming like avant-garde people, but then they'll just transpose that and stick it in to those people who are working for the likes of Simon Cowell. So I think what you have is subcultures that are trying to take flight and flourish, but they're basically being emulated by those who want to profit off those subcultures. But I don't see anything that is really anti-establishment coming up lately. And if you do know of anything, hit me up in the fucking comment section. Like, share, and subscribe. But yeah, so that's that in a nutshell. I would like to see some subcultures coming up because yeah, I mean, I've always been anti-establishment. And the thing is, to be anti-establishment these days is to offend woke types. And it's like, you're supposed to be anti-establishment, but you're actually doing the fucking bidding of the anti-establishment because you're going along with synthesized aggrievement. These people are unwittingly thinking that what they are, they're McCarthyites, or the merry White Houses, or the album burners of the 80s, burning like Nancy Reaganites who are burning these Judas Priest and Black Sabbath albums, but with dildos and rainbow flags. So they're basically the conservative fusty types who believe that they are anti-establishment, but actually they are foot soldiers of the establishment, if that makes sense. Paj thanks for that, Paj. That was an insightful tangent that I went off on, thanks to that question. Anto Mach 121. How's the form, Maloney? Happy Friday. In work, eating me cornflakes, wishing I was at the beer garden. Snooze. Sun's Jays is beaming in Dublin. Well, tonight, what you're gonna have to do, Anton, is you're gonna have to go down with a couple of lads to the Portobello Bridge and enjoy yourself a nice few lovely Lutioners. Alan S says, I'd say the Boo is busy these days with the old jib jab funny stuff, fucking throwing shots, man. He's busy enough. He's a good lad. Alan S, all subcultures will be subverted and consumed by the neoliberal status quo. Yeah, I fucking well believe it, mate. Margaret X, how are you doing, Margaret? Most of the aunties are over 45 years old. I would like you to elaborate further on that, but I do. Yeah, but I have noticed a fair bit of that. Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah. Well, because if you look at the like they're over 45 years old. So in the 90s, it was irreverent and very much anti-establishment. Whereas now, like the fucking youth, I don't know what kind of wizardry has been bestowed upon their fragile eggshell minds, but um, yeah, I don't get it, man. I mean, like the point of youth is to be irreverent and rowdy, but I think maybe even if you look at like the likes of the Doors and the grunge movement, it's always been the big record labels who have been calling the shots and the promoters, so I think maybe every generation that has come before us, the the pioneers of these cultural movements have probably played their part in the destabilizing of the Western world. But it's only when we look back with the lens of today, they seem to be more innocuous. Like if you look at the lyrics of Guns N' Roses, I'll give you the it's so easy. So I see your sister in a Sunday dress. She's out. Well, I see your sister in a Sunday dress. She's out to please. She pouts her best. Uh, Fuck, 1 second. Shite. Let me just. I have to play it. Hold on 1 second. I see your sister in a Sunday dress. She's out to please. She pouts her best. No, she's out to take. No need to try. She's ready to take. It's so easy, easy. Everybody's trying to please me, baby. It's so easy, easy. Everybody's trying to please me. Cars are crashing every night. I drink and drive, everything's inside. I make the fire, but I miss the firefight. I hit the bullseye every night. So basically, saying that someone's sister is out on the game, and he can just shag his whoever's sister for free. And I think Guns N' Roses, it was I fucking it's great musicianship, but I think it was again David Geffen, and David Geffen is a wrong'un. Do you know what I mean? He was probably on Epstein's Island, and yeah, you look at Jim Morrison and the Doors. I'm a backdoor man. It was there was a lot of overt sexuality, and which also feeds into like a common discussion nowadays is abortion, right? And whatever your opinions of abortion are, anytime someone brings up the abortion subject to me in conversation, I'm like, look, there's no point of us even talking about this because it's a fucking circular discussion that is never resolved. At the end of the day, right, just a neutral perspective on it would be that the price of a promiscuous society and unprotected sex, and like which I had fucking plenty of, and it's is the fact that human beings are created through sexual intercourse, and if you have recreational sex and people get pregnant, unfortunately the fallout of that is the human baby that is inside the womb, and you know it's a very complex discussion that is never going to be resolved, whether you're pro-life or you're pro-abortion. It's one of them where basically like everything, I just can't understand why if to just look at both. You've got to look at both sides, and then you've got to look at the gray bit in the middle. And I think nowadays people can't just like it was one of the like I always look at Bobby Sands, for example. When Bobby Sands would be in prison, he would often engage in debate. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Bobby Sands was a member, an IRA prisoner who died in the hunger strikes. And But what made him such a clever individual was the fact that he would often have debates, but from the British side, and win debates. So yeah, basically, this all goes back to what I was saying about, like, anti-establishment, subcultural movements. But basically, one second. How are you doing, Tom?
How are you doing, Pat?
Not too bad. There's a lot of people asking about you here on the live stream. They're asking how you're getting on. They've got great interest in you. Do you want to say hello?
Cool, man. I'm flying, man. I'm absolutely flying.
Good lad.
Yeah, I'm driving a car here now, so I probably can't talk.
Fair enough.
Shouldn't be talking in the first place.
Hey, but you have the hands free on though. But just you do have the hands free on, and Siri did make the call, so you're not doing anything wrong there.
That is it. Thank you for clarifying that with the public.
Yeah, I just wanted to, and you're not actually holding a bottle of Buckfast at the wheel at the same time.
No, I haven't.
And gathering by the fact that your call has just broken up, you're probably somewhere in Roscommon. Yes, he's definitely in Roscommon.
No, that is true.
Are you?
I'll give you a ring.
Hey, are you in Roscommon at the moment?
Actually going through near enough Roscommon, yeah.
Yeah, I knew it. I said that. Well, it's just I bet you're going past towards French Park or somewhere.
Going under a bridge here now, and Ballyhonus. There's a sign for Ballyhonus on the left.
Hey, come here. If you're going under the bridge, will you say hello to Anthony Kiedis and the boys?
Oh yeah, Anthony Vidas and the boys. How did you get that on, lads?
Hey,
is that the right name? Did I pronounce it right?
Anthony Vidas. No, Anthony Kiedis.
Anthony Vidas.
No, Anthony Kiedis.
Kiedis.
Yeah.
Right. How you doing, lads? God bless you. One love. God bless.
Peace up, A-Town.
Peace up, A-Town. I love you, lads. Good luck.
Good luck, Cham. Talk to you soon, lad.
Bye.
Yes. So that was the man himself, the Boo Boo Dolls. Let me see. Yeah. So basically, you had the Doors, you had Zeppelin, you had fucking and all music that I fucking love. Jimi Hendrix. I was always like growing up, I want to be in a band, man. Jim Morrison. It was when I was like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. These were lads I looked up to, like Jim Morrison. And if you listen to American Prayer by the Doors, that man wasn't fucking happy. It's like there's a poem, Morrison's Lament, where it's like, lament for my cock, sore and crucified, I seek to know you. The child absorbs death from the TV screen. And it's basically it's a very unhappy man who had impotency in his fucking mid to late 20s. And it can be argued that he was part of a military psyop. Apparently Joan Baez, Jim Morrison, the kids of Laurel Canyon, that had were put in place as part of the 60s was a huge Tavistock experiment, like the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, maybe even Pink Floyd, I don't know. But the acid and the free love and gonzo journalism, all this kind of stuff is anti-establishment and whatnot. But again, we look at like the 50s, for example. Okay, so you had like the Roaring Twenties, which was prosperity. Then they had the Great Depression, and the Great Depression led to World War II, which was fucked up because like the world was at war, and many people were displaced. And then there was the rebuilding process, and the fact that the United States was completely unscathed and pretty much had, I think, out of all of the superpowers, had the least casualties. So they went through a wave of prosperity. But then you got to look at people like Henry Marcuse and the Frankfurt School, and the likes of Saul Alinsky's Rule for Radicals, and is it Alfred Kinsey? Like Kinsey and those guys, these sexual scientists, were fucking perverts, man. Do you know what I mean? They were out and out perverts that some of them engaged in pedophilia. And this crept into mainstream academia and whatnot. And and it just over the years, yeah, I mean, like, and I fell into this, lauding people like Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, fucking one of my favorite musicians of all time, dead at 27. Janis Joplin, dead at 27. Kurt Cobain, dead at 27. Amy Winehouse, dead at 27. These are people that were creative and sensitive people that were geniuses that were surrounded by people that were fucking enabling. If whenever you're that whenever you're that look at Avicii. Avicii was a fucking genius and seemed like a really nice lad. I don't know if it was foul play, but apparently the suicide was he'd cut his own throat with a bottle. Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington, these are other fucking another kettle of fish. But like, ultimately, we look up to these people, we listen to their music, we love their music, we love their work, but a lot of them are very deeply unhappy. Look at Lane Staley from Alice in Chains. Like, Alice in Chains is fucking fantastic. Great. I love Alice in Chains as well. But the music is, I'm a dog who gets beat. Shove my nose in shit. That doesn't sound like a man who's. It sounds like a man who's sad. You know what I mean? And deeply troubled. But yeah, for people like myself growing up, we wanted to be like that. And then when you finally do get a slice of that and you behave in that kind of way, you're like, fuck, man, this isn't how I was raised. And that's what I meant to say earlier on. It goes against like the natural order of things, like, the celebrity worship and, movies and films. And you come to a stage where you start realizing, look at the science, you're like, is this a net benefit for society? Or is this a two-pronged money grab? And also the dismantling of the family, the individual, the society. And are these people just pawns in a greater destabilization operation? So yeah, like all these people. Can you imagine? Like, I remember reading in Room Full of Mirrors, the Jimi Hendrix biography, about how he kept a diary one day, and it was just like same shit, same shit. He was going around playing gigs in front of thousands of people and meeting, interesting luminaries of society. But it was just like, yeah, same shit, different day. Can you imagine that? And your ordinary people are like, wow, he played fucking Monterey Bay, or he's just played Woodstock. But like, a person can experience too much too soon, and it becomes overwhelming. And in order to kind of counteract those feelings, they turn to drunks and drink and heroin and crack and that kind of thing. Look at Richard Pryor. I mean, the guy was a fantastic comedian, and God knows we could do with more people like that these days. Ended up burning his fucking legs because he was trying to smoke crack or make crack or freebase or something. So, I think we put a lot of our a lot of our energy and our attention on people who haven't even got their own shit together, but they're promoted by these big companies who are profiting off the sales of their work. So let's see. I'll have a look at some of your Dr. David. Oh man, have you heard the new Two Johnnies podcast, man? It's mad stuff, man. Mad stuff. Mad. Some vaguely surprising thing happened. Mad. Taj Mahaj, looking back at grunge, it's kind of to blame for the nihilistic view of world people for nowadays. Yeah, it is quite fair enough. Alan S. Sexual liberation is slavery, to paraphrase E. Michael Jones. Alan S. The Boo himself. Good man, Boo, says Larry Anthony. Carl, he's some man for one man. Margaret X. So many manufactured wars, terror, culture, gender, etc. A house divided upon itself falls. It keeps many distracted and puts barriers to connections. Barriers to connections is right. Very good. I would agree with that. Hacker Metal. France have laws where fraternal information can be withheld if the mother so chooses. France also happens to be an extremely promiscuous culture. Cheating is not seen as a big deal. Kev Johnson, the killer awoke before dawn, put his boots on, and he walked on down the hall and took a look inside. Alan S, CIA, MK Ultra, celebrity chaos agents. Chaos agents is right, man. Yeah. I mean, again, when people are all fucked up personally, they're, drunk on drugs, depressed, they're easy. They're more. A society is more malleable. But if the society is together for and pulling in the same direction for the greater good, look at China. Look at fucking China today, man. That is, I'm not saying I agree with China. I mean, obviously, like, look at the shit in Shanghai. But the people in China work together as one, unless you're one of the Uyghurs, but that's a different story. But man, if China, okay, look at the American military today and then look at China. Yes, American military, they're fucking fantastically organized, or they were until like Milley and fucking Lloyd Austin came in. But when an American military, how many people from the American military now? How many GIs do you see homeless and suffering heavily with PTSD? And the suicide rate is through the roof. My heart goes out to them, man. You know what I mean? And there would be some people going, "Oh, how can you feel sorry for expansionist, imperialist fucking forces?" I'm like, because these people are people's children. These people were born into the world, often with loving families who cared about them. They go because they wanted to represent their country, but the propaganda is so strong. I would have, if I lived in the States, I probably would have joined the military at 18, especially after 9/11 happened, and you felt like you wanted to get some justice for your country. But I can imagine the disillusionment. But you compare the American military then to the Chinese military, who are basically they're doing it for the People's Republic of China, which again, you're basically, this is why nations choose young men and women for military, because they're idealistic. They don't really know any different until you get to like your 30s, really. And yeah, so I'll leave that there. Roshi Mac, I'm lucky and glad I never had an unwanted pregnancy. I have friends who did and had abortions. I don't judge them at all. I couldn't personally do it. Guilt, but everyone's situation is unique. When I was younger, man, I was having fucking promiscuous sex with random women. Some of them I have never seen since. And I'm like, maybe I have kids. Maybe someone has aborted my baby. And it's only now when I look back as a man who has kids. At the time, I was just like, rock and roll. And I look back at how incredibly foolish and selfish my behavior was back in the day. And it's certainly not it's not how my mother raised me to be. But that's 15, 16 years ago. I remember me and my ex-girlfriend, we didn't know what the situation was with morning after pills and that kind of thing in Ireland. And we went into the local pharmacy in Ballyban, and two of us walked in. We're like, "Hey, do you sell the morning after pill?" "No, they don't sell them here, but you have to go to the doctor or the hospital if you want to get one." We're like, "Okay, why are you whispering?" But yeah, that was, they were the people I hung out with, and that was like how it's how I lived life back then, and it's only with the lens of the future that you can really kind of look back over the mistakes and the silly things you did in youth, and to have an old to have a you can't put an old head on young shoulders, but I know that compared to the generation of my family that came before me, that behavior that I'd been through was unthinkable, and and I'm not going to judge anybody on what decisions they've personally made. Do you know what I mean? It's it's not it's not a decision to be made lightly, and and people can say, "Oh, well, why do you use contraception?" It's like, in the middle of a fucking, if you're pissed up and you're Randy, you're going to take chances. and that's fucking how simple it is. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and that goes for like STDs and all that kind of shit. It's like you'll fucking roll. As my uncle used to tell me, which I didn't fucking listen to him, but it was good advice. He said, a few moments of pleasure can lead to a lifetime of misery. And yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, I had to make my own mistakes to come to the insights that I have today. I mean, I don't think I was one of those people who was just satisfied with good advice. I had to fucking go and, you know, go against good advice in many respects and fucking eat the shit sandwich in order to be able to fucking learn a lesson. And if I can pass on any advice that maybe will be taken upon ears that listen, then so be it. But I certainly wouldn't want to be, a hypocrite. And we've all done things in the past that, we're not proud of. But I think we have to be understanding and, see things from all angles. And again, it goes back to being able to discuss things openly and honestly. So, pop music is about control, says CM Fox. Kev Johnson, Alan S, 100% Martin, you know your stuff. Kev Johnson, bad bastards, man. But there's a good old fashioned pervert. But there's your good old fashioned pervert. Paj Mahaj, a genius artistic mind is usually depressed and messed up. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's probably, a genius artistic mind that isn't understood by those around them would lead to feelings of frustration. Definitely, I can see where that comes from. 1 second now. Bear with me. Bear with me. I was supposed to have a meeting today. 1 second. Sorry about that. I was supposed to have a meeting, but I ended up doing a live stream instead. Went on a bit too long. Your old lady to himself. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah. Kev Johnson. My mate had long hair and got flashed by a fella near Bootle Audio Road train station. Haj Mahaj and Bill Hicks is another genius. Bill Hicks really is a genius, or he was a genius. I like him more since he's turned into Alex Jones, though. But yeah, I mean, Bill Hicks was a young man. You know what I mean? He always seemed quite old to me, but like he had the courage of conviction, and he spoke with like he spoke with just he was true to his own soul. And I admire people who really do speak their minds without giving a fuck what other people think. Because I'm guilty of doing it, man. Guilty of like, oh, what if I offend this person? It's frustrating, and it's like, oh, what if someone, like if I wanted to go back to work, like in terms of like if I wanted to work in like a proper job like Amazon or fucking Google or like one of these like I said, owned by BlackRock kind of jobs. There's no fucking way I'm getting work. I have too many fucking spicy opinions. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but at the end of the day, end of fucking day, I would rather like just be an open book. And I know like the way the Irish mindset would have been growing up was like, don't give them any fucking information, man. Tell them fucking nothing. And here I am, like, talking to people who most of you I've never met, about very honest and open things. But I think, okay, right, it doesn't really do me any good to be, explaining my deepest, or opinions or personalities or things that I've done in the past. But, if I can start a chain reaction of more open and honest discussion, then I'd be happy to do that. And throw an old fucking super chat in, you cunts. Sorry, I do appreciate anyone who does send an old super chat in as well. But yeah, but that's I think we need people just to kind of put their head above the parapet and speak honestly and openly and for what it's worth. Let me see. Fucking, they don't want a community, says Kev Johnston. Through force, says Hacker Metal. I'm a bit behind on these, unfortunately. It's social. Finn Hoare, did you watch Ireland versus Ukraine Wednesday night? Must have sickened Putin rightly. Ireland versus Ukraine, who won that? I didn't even know Ireland were playing Ukraine. Let me see. Ireland versus Ukraine. Is that the League of Nations job, was it? 1-0. Fucking hell, Ireland. But saying that, Ukraine against Sweden last year, that was a fucking great match. Started off really polite, and at the end of it was just like a war of attrition. And then Sweden ended up knocking them out of the Euros, I think. But I think it went to penalties. But that was a great match. The Ukrainian lads and the Swedish lads played a fucking blinder. Fair play to them. Finn Hoare, what happened to CM Fox? But you know what a swingle tree is, so she didn't do too bad, says Kev Johnson. CM Ukraine won. Your old lady does himself. CM Fox, if you didn't learn through reason, you'll learn through experience. Yes, very eloquently put there, mate. That's very true. And I have learned through experience, other than reason. But at least the best thing is if you've learned from, it's a good and bad thing. If you do learn through experience, then you fucking know what's happened because for better or worse, you've lived it. Margaret X, have to go. Great chat. Have a great one, everyone. Good luck, Margaret. Sound gone, Martin. Yes, I had to mute that for a second. Kev Johnson, an honest day's work for a shitty day's pay. That's how it be, Papa. Alan S, always would love to hear Hicks's thoughts on today's madness. Oh man, George Carlin as well. He'd be another one. Bry Reynolds, Hicks died very young, 32. Yeah, I'd have to wonder about that one. Wasn't it lung cancer? RB, Ukraine and Armenia have beaten Ireland in the last few days. Kenny out. You know what? Like, I really I despair about the state of FAI, man, and how it's just fucking rudderless. It's a rudderless boat of mediocrity. And when you look back to the days of the 90s and even fucking like 2002 World Cup, it's like, there was real danger of them scoring, and like it's just been. I mean, we had the Euros there twice, but second Euros in France was better. But it's just fucking. It's so depressing, man. When your national team doesn't get into a substantial fucking tournament, it's fucking depression, man. Let me see. I done Gareth Bale first goal. They paid me out and then took it back off me. Said it was an OG. Oh, what? That's a sickener, man. Alan S. Ireland would never let themselves win against Ukraine. More opportunity to virtue signal. I mean, isn't it just ridiculous? Like, if that, like, you're giving people a soft touch because their country is at conflict. If that was the case, and it's like this fucking shit with like Gareth Southgate coming out saying that England will continue to kneel before football matches until the people have become educated, and it's like you're still doing this shit. Like, even though the owner of the women from the organizers of Black Lives Matter have basically taken fucking large chunks of money and just bought houses, and it's like it was just a fucking. It has it done anything for have the most impoverished areas of America with black communities, have they seen the benefit of it? I'm sure there are people within the Black Lives Matter movement who are actually doing their part to try and make the place a better place for their community. But I just think the movement itself was just again another opportunity for predatory fucking corporations to deflect heat from themselves. you know, and I just think like England, America, you know, they're just like we live in communities that are mixed communities. Like, stop focusing on the fucking negative, man, and just like, you know, just it's like the time when Morgan Freeman went on Don Lemon and he was asking him about, well, what do you think about race? And he's like, stop talking about it. Just fucking stop making it into a big deal. Like, I mean, and instead of telling people you can make it, just fucking, you know, like there will always be racism. There'll always be people will always um, choose their own. That's just like a fact. Do you know what I mean? That's like, you know, that will always occur. But like, you know, just yeah, everyone should have equal opportunities, you know, and most people, like most people in their right minds want this, but the fact that they keep bashing people over the heads with it, it's just going to make them resentful. You know what I mean? It's like, let everyone fucking just treat people the same. Like, I mean, my mother always raised me to be like, just treat people the way you'd like to be treated yourself. And you know, I was, you know, it's like we're all brothers and sisters under the eyes of God, you know, and you know, there are probably people saying, "Oh yeah, what a fucking hippie way of looking at it," but it's just like we're all fucking born into the world, man, you know, and you know we can't choose who we're born into or what we look like, and you know, fucking whether you're a white supremacist or a black supremacist or a Jewish supremacist or you know whatever the fuck or Asian supremacist, then you're a fucking weirdo for thinking that you're any better than anyone else. But like, just these people need to stop fucking talking about it, man, because it's annoying at this stage, and it only enriches those who seek to divide us. You know, we all live, we all die, we struggle, we have moments of triumph and love and positivity that we experience. Like, the world is fucking hard enough without making it harder on ourselves. And that's all I'll fucking say on that shite. But again, that was one point I saw a meme where it's basically, why is it that it's usually like with the Southgate thing, it's usually like rich white people who are fucking giving people lections, you know, it's or lectures. Um it's hard for fucking anybody in this day and age, man. It's you know, it really is. Globalist and vassal state, says LNS. Let me see. Still three World Cup and Qatar. They will go to that and take the knee. Oh yeah, like who built the stadiums in Qatar? And I love the way the World Cup is usually in like June or July in the middle of summer. But no, we have to wait till the middle of the fucking winter till it's actually the temperature is cooler down there. And it's like, that's going to be a shit World Cup because we're going to have to be watching it at work or when it's probably going to be on the same time as like when work is on. People are going to be inside fucking pubs or at home watching it instead of being out in beer gardens going, England have it, oh mate, you know, that kind of thing. Let me see. Ireland. So your mum drank a pint of the black stuff. Good enough. Put a green shirt on. Ireland, an enemy occupied and defeated economic zone, not a real country. Everywhere has been fucking like they didn't roll in the tanks, but they rolled in the banks. Larry Anthony, Amazon made an absolute fortune when they had a BLM plastered all over their site. Yeah, all right. CM Fox, people need to be wary of body language. Taking the knee or kneeling is a sign of submission, like in Gladiator, kneel before to try and execute them. Yeah, I mean, like I said, when it first came out, right? Because everyone was well touchy about the subject, and I was like, fucking hell, man, you say anything, you'll be fucking lambasted by fucking anyone who's just looking for the excuse to take someone out. But I remember saying when someone said, "Would you take the knee?" I'd say no. I'd fucking shake hands with you and shoulder to shoulder, eye to eye, and just be like, if you're fucking I don't give a fuck who you are. If you're sound, just sound. If you're a dick, then you need to be called out for being a dick. Doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter who you are, rich or poor. You fucking, like I said, we're all born into this world. Can't control that. It's the actions of how you behave, how you conduct yourself. Are you making the world a better place or are you making the world a worse place? If you're making the world a better place, fucking sound, man. Can you, if you're making the world a worse place, can you change? Can you rectify that? And that's what it's about. But yeah, I mean, you know, people will say to me, "Oh, yeah, how can you say this as a white man? You've got white privilege and all this." I'm like, I don't have any fucking privilege. Fucking like it's like some gobshite on some fucking lad who's like a journalist was talking about some, I don't know, some Irish fucking journalist. He's got 100,000 followers on Twitter, and then he was talking about the queues in Dublin, and he said something about check your privilege, and I went, I wrote, it's only the most privileged of people have the luxury of saying check your privilege. Like like I can tell you for fucking fact, I have no there was nothing privileged about my situation that I'm in at the moment. Like I haven't even fucking gone home in ages, and you know, like I still never felt like I fitted in here in Sweden. Like Sweden has always been fucking uphill all the time. And I don't know if it's a language or a cultural barrier, or if it's a bit of the ADHD or whatnot, but it's just like I've always kind of felt like I was on the back foot over here. But at the end of the day, look, like the knee thing, it's just be like fucking just we don't like racist behavior in any of its form. We know this. Let's just fucking for me, what annoys me about it is it's again the corporations who are the likes of BlackRock pushing this because they want us all divided. Whereas like if we all came together, I mean, and I think with the whole all the lockdown shit that happened a couple of years ago, it was bringing people together big time, you know, and a lot of people from very different backgrounds were coming together against the likes of fucking Bill Gates and Fauci and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I think, you know, we would be better off, all of us, building organic grassroots bridges with each other and cooperating with each other and respecting each other's cultures, you know, and I think that's the key to success, man, is to, you know, is to basically, instead of like submitting or bowing before someone else or throwing your weight around over someone else, is to be like, look, we're on this fucking situation together. Let's fucking work together and let's fuck the vulture class at the top, bastards. Bill Hicks smoked a lot, but was pancreatic cancer. Almost all patients older than 45, but about 2/3 at least 65 old, and the average age of time of diagnosis is 70. Oh. Living the Dream says, I'm a midget supremacist. Wookie Boss, totally agree. It's like a fetish that they can't stop wanking over. Someone at work asked me what my pronouns are, laughed and said, I'm 34, not 14, you chode. Alan S. The LGBT propaganda is constant where I work. Real sign of societal collapse where pronouns are priority while runaway inflation is going on. I don't understand, man. It's just like, how is that the most important thing, man? You know, at the end of the day, you know, it's not something that is going to fucking, it's not going to end world hunger. It's not going to it's not going to, you know, drive the prices of property down. It's just something that will distract people into thinking that they're being victorious. Okay, the LGBT look, and again, you like the distinction needs to be made about people who are gay, people who are trans, people who are, you know, lesbians and bisexuals and whatnot. These, you know, they're individuals, and they're individuals that you will meet and have respectful interactions with, and yeah, support them if necessary, if they need support. Like if, like, think if I saw someone fucking kicking off on somebody because of who they are, you know, like I've got into a fight before where I've seen like racist behavior, and I've fucking got into a scrap with them. Do you know what I mean? If I saw someone who was beating someone up because they were gay, I'd fucking go in and clock them. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is, like, there is a distinction in the individual and the corporate engineered pseudo movement, and that's you know what I mean to say, you know, because a lot of there are people like who you know Una Mullally folks, for example, who would be like, "Oh, how dare you talk badly about the LGBT movement?" And it's like, where are you moving to? Like, what's the fucking movement about? It's like treat individuals with compassion and respect, and just fucking get on with life, man. You know, I'm not going to say any more about it now because I'm fucking bored. I've done my own head in talking about it and being all diplomatic. Um, Gotham, I feel like moving to the Whittle, says Kev Johnston. Oh, go to fucking Caldy where all the rich footy players live. Bree Reynolds, sorry, CM Fox. Gothenburg literally is uphill all the time with the pram as well. Cuntish was a relief to finally buy a car. Having a car in Stockholm, man, there's no point. There's literally, you're adding 50% more hassle into your life unless you have your own parking space and you don't have to drive into the city because the parking attendants are relentless. They will do you over nothing, and then you'll just constantly have worry. If you have the luxury of having a garden where or a yard where you can park the car, fucking sound. But it's just a fucking nightmare, man. Every time you drive on the toll, it depends on different times of day. If you're going in the morning, it's like €6 just to go one way on the motorway, which you have to go to get to the north side of the city. So I'm just like, nah, I can't be fucked with a car, man. There wasn't much white privilege growing up in Sligo back in the 90s. Trust me. No, there fucking wasn't. There was a couple of schlaps going around. I feel like that MADR. What's that, Roisin? Sorry. Kevin Johnston, a black gay doctor who it gets to the point where they're pushing the agenda too hard. What was that? Sorry. Roisin Mac, oops, sent too early. Okay. I don't fit in where I am now in Northern Ireland. Even though I grew up in Northern Ireland, I fitted in more in Glasgow and Bristol. I was way too long to come back 22 years. Yeah, I can imagine how you'd feel about that. Kev Johnson, the lettuce, bacon, and tomato brigade. Alan S. I've nothing against people with different sexualities, but don't force it on society or kids, though. It's another globalist corporate agenda. See, the thing is, and most people would get that. Do you know what I mean? Most people would, but a lot. You know, there's a lot of young minds that have been radicalized, and their sexual orientation is they've been taught, or they start behaving in a way where their sexual orientation is the be all and end all. Like, imagine me going right. Like, imagine if we just started like a straight movement. It's like, "Way, we're straight." Like, it's like people are like, you know, I know a lot of women here in Stockholm who have like tattoos of like the female sign, and it's like there's like lads going around with like, "Oh, I'm getting the Mars, you know, sign of the astrology sign." It's like, yeah, congratulations, you were born in with either XX or double Y chromosomes. It's like, but you're proud of that. Like, it's like it's like, oh yeah, I've been born in Stoke, you know. So it's like I'm just gonna make my entire existence about the fact that I was born in Stoke. You know, like there's so much fucking more to a person than who they want to have sex with. Um, you know, it's fucking just chill. You know, go on a walk, hit the woods, do some surfing, fucking skateboard, whatever the fuck. Go and listen to a classical orchestra. There's a lot more going on. Like, no one fucking cares, man. Do you know what I mean? Kev Johnson, yeah, the Doctor Who is. Oh, that's what it was. He's black and gay. They're pushing the agenda too hard. I was like, the thing is, I don't get, like, there was, you know, it's the thing that why they need to teach this shit to kids. It because it's not like you know, like you see like libs of TikTok and whatnot, and some of these, like, they've been radicalized by fucking perverts, basically. A lot of these blue haired fucking clims who are now, I'm gonna be a teacher, I'm neurodivergent, and my pronouns are and I'm gonna I was like, You're not doing, like, just teach them how to fucking read and write, man, and teach them how to do the bloody tax forms, because that's the kind of shit you need to know about. And, you know, just be real to people, man. Imagine being so dull and uneventful, says Wookie Box. The only thing you have to be is proud of your sexuality. Yeah, dull and uneventful. Just go into Raylan, man, or fucking go on a round the world trip and see the world and knock the fucking phone off, and go to places that this nonsense hasn't permeated into. Go and build some housing for people in deprived communities abroad. Do something meaningful, like clean trash off the fucking beaches of the Solomon Islands. Just do something that is meaningful, because all it is, it's fucking slacktivism, and it's misguided altruism, and it's ultimately a big fucking diversion from things that like people are like how many people are on antidepressants? Why are they on antidepressants? Why do people feel like that they're not fulfilled in their lives? Because they've been fed this fucking bullshit since they were born, that, oh, you should be the captain of a Premier League football team. You should be out there fucking racing Le Mans cars. You should be a fashion designer in Milan. You should be a Hollywood actor, a jet fighter pilot. Not going to happen. I mean, to get to these highest positions of esteem takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of resources. It takes a lot of support, and it takes a lot of like focusing on yourself, and it takes a lot of skill. And the skill set aside, it also takes opportunity and being at the right time at the right place, and then having the iron will and the metal to make it. And a lot of young people growing up feeling like shit hasn't worked out according to what their dreams are. And a lot of it, you just got to accept that most of us are going to be fucking we're going to have to struggle and hustle till the day we die. And especially nowadays, man, things are getting harder. Yeah, but I think, getting off fucking pharmaceutical, like getting off, antidepressants, and like my mother was on them years ago, and she said it was the hardest thing she ever had to do was get off them. Like people are fucking hooked on them; they can't get off them, and it's a dependency that isn't stigmatized because it's been prescribed. They're pharmaceutical drugs. And it's like, oh no, that's not the same as like smoking copious amounts of weed or heroin or cocaine, or that these are different. These are normal. It's like giving children Ritalin in school and other shit because they can't sit still. They can't sit still in school because they're fucking stuck on a sunny day in front of a blackboard learning, well, listening to shit they're not even interested about. And it's like, oh yeah, they've got ADHD. Yeah, I was diagnosed with it, and yeah, I have difficulties navigating this world. But as the psychologist I said, who was a fucking legend, he said, well, maybe I shouldn't tell you this, Martin, but maybe ADHD is a last defense against a boring society. And what is society? It's fucking boring, man. You're supposed to go and work a certain amount of hours a week in something that you don't really want to be doing. You're taxed heavily on that. And then when you go to the shops to buy shit, you're taxed. Your fucking price of living, your petrol is a ripoff. Fuck, man, it would drive anyone to bloody antidepressants, But that's just the fucking way it is. Do you believe in bloodlines, like purple bloodlines from King David? I wouldn't be too fucking surprised, man. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, keeping it in the family, so to speak. And I do believe that some of these people in high society, they do marry into the wrong because they keep their legacy in the dynasty. But there are people who are then cast out of the estate, and over time, aren't part of the lineage. But I think there are a lot of people from those bloodlines that just end up in ordinary situations. They were dethroned, or if you look at Who Do You Think You Are with Danny Dyer, and when he's like, I was related to Richard III. And then you realize that how many people were like, like the 100 Years' War between the Cavaliers and the Roundheads, that they'd lost their entire fortune, and then you become part of the peasant class. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Wookie boss, imagine being so dull and okay. Bolshevik identity politics, divide and conquer tactics. Well, there are parallels between the Bolshevik movement in Russia and what's going on today. It's basically in order to raise the army that is necessary for the destabilization, you need to demoralize society, and then you need to destabilize it, and then radicalize it, and then use them to overthrow the current order. And once those radicals have achieved the ends of what the higher ups have set out to do, they're the first with their fucking back against the wall in front of the firing squad. CM Fox, all this bad culture degeneracy comes from America, in my opinion. Yeah, it does. But then you got to look at, like I said, the Frankfurt School, who set up in Columbia University and who infiltrated media and culture, and look up the Frankfurt School and the likes of Saul Alinsky and Rules for Radicals, the Weather Underground, and all these fucking lunatics. Because they have divided America through race, because America was that kind of, like, the Constitution was the pursuit of happiness and liberty and life, and there was the opportunity where you could, like, for many years in America, you could live well, the American dream, but, like, it's completely been fucking destroyed, and all the wealth has been pilfered, and that's why they have to have wars of expansionism to take other people's resources as well. America has been occupied by subversives a long time ago. One element started with a long march through academia. Yeah, the march of the Frankfurt School. Well, lads, what's your story? All right, Jack lad. Roshi and Mac, I'm on them for 2 years for anxiety, and 19 at 19. I was on them for 2 years, anxiety at 19, and it was horrendous coming off them. Haven't touched them since. Used to get those mad brain zaps, physical withdrawal, horrible. Like, there's been tough times in my life where I could have fucking gone, all right, just give us some antidepressants or some, you know what I mean? But you gotta fucking use your life isn't supposed to be easy. There's no fucking instruction manual. There are things you can do to mitigate the difficulties in life, but fitness. I'm gonna go for a fucking run now after in about 5 minutes, um, because I've got to go for a run. I've done fuck all for like a month, and I feel physically unfit. I've got to get back to being fit. I recommend all of you do the same thing. Get out, exercise, and as Big Mick or my Uncle Eugene in real life would say, if you're fit for anything. And I spend a lot of time on the fucking internet. I waste so much time on the internet. At least today, I'm talking to you, and I feel like maybe I'm creating something of value, to the viewer. And someone might be like, he's talking shite, man. Fair enough. That's your opinion. Cold showers. I haven't done them lately. Gone a bit soft. Sauna, cardio will help anxiety and depression. That's why the Finns and Swedes love saunas, man. They just go to saunas and just chill. Some comedians have it hard, say Niall Sheridan. Well, you've got to look at how comedians a lot of the time have had shit times growing up, and as a coping mechanism for the shitness, they look to humor to couch the difficulty, and therefore, yeah, a lot of comedians have indeed had shitty times growing up. Then you get like the rich comedians, like, yeah, how's it going? I'm a comedian, cool. Yeah, I want to be a comedian. Yeah. Do you ever look at spoons, man? Like, you look in the drawer and you're like, okay, you got the knives. The knives are fucking cool. They're sharp guys. Then you got the forks, and you're like, whoa, you guys, you're good, totally fucking stuck into the savory stuff, man. But then you got the spoons, and there's like 2 types of spoons, man. Like, you got the fucking teaspoon, and then you got like the dessert spoon. And like the teaspoon is like the baby spoon. It's like, oh man, I want to do what daddy's doing, but all I'm doing is making tea. Ha ha ha. But like the big lad gets to eat like fucking trifle and cheesecake. Whoa. That's the kind of stuff. Whereas you have other comedians who are like, yeah, so my fucking father, he ended up shooting someone in an armed robbery. We were put into foster care, and and then you got all that kind of stuff. And like Richard Pryor, look at Richard Pryor's life. I think he grew up in a brothel, and his mother was a prostitute, and he saw a lot of things, and had to use humor as a way of coping with life, and then he turned it into a fantastic income. But it doesn't mean that his life. But at the end of the day, poor dude ended up fucking setting himself on fire because of crack. So now, with that in mind, I hope you've enjoyed this extra long live stream today. If you want to throw me a few quid for this as a tip, buy me a pint, as you will. The PayPal Maloney's Digest is up there in the top description. Like, nothing's too great, nothing's too small. I'd appreciate it. But yeah, I've really enjoyed chatting to you all today, and I hope you have a really nice weekend. And if you're in Dublin, maybe if you've all seen this live stream and you're in Dublin, go and meet by the bridge at Portobello at 7:30 tonight and wear a fucking baseball cap and give each other the nod. And then you'll be like, did you see the stream, man? And then you can all hang out and have a few drinks down by Portobello today. So that's what I'm going to bring. If you're in Dublin, do that. And if you're in Galway, do the same down at the Spanish Arch or wherever the fuck you guys are in your city. Just go somewhere and have a couple of fucking nice outdoor lutioners and enjoy the sun. But I enjoyed chatting to you all. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Look after each other, look after yourself, and go and get some fucking exercise. Do a few push-ups, man. A couple of pull-ups. You know what I mean? Work on the cardio. I'm gonna go for a run. Good luck to you.